Right now, someone in Ohio is earning $7.25 an hour at the federal minimum wage, checking their bank account before their shift, wondering if their car will make it to work tomorrow. And right now, someone else in that same country is pulling in $650,000 a year, checking their portfolio on their phone, wondering why they still feel like they're falling behind their friends. Both of those situations are real, and today we're walking through every single pay level in the United States, from the federal minimum wage all the way to the top 1%, and showing you exactly what life looks like at each stage. Real numbers, real tax, real take-home pay, and the real lifestyle each salary actually buys you in 2026. Let's start at the bottom. The federal minimum wage has sat at $7.25 an hour for years now, which works out to about $15,080 a year before tax if you're working full-time. Practice. Almost nobody actually lives on that number because most states have pushed their own minimum wage well above it, anywhere from $12 to $16 an hour depending on where you live. Let's use $15 an hour as a realistic floor. That's $31,200 a year before tax, or around $27,500 after tax and payroll deductions, roughly $1,058 every 2 weeks. At this level, life is a constant balancing act. Average rent for a one-bedroom outside the biggest cities is eating up $1,000 to $1,300 a month on its own. That's close to half your take-home pay just for a roof. Groceries for one person run $250 to $300 a month. Add gas, insurance and a phone bill and there's almost nothing left. Saving feels impossible. You're not failing. The math simply isn't built to let you get ahead at this wage, and millions of Americans are stuck right here working full-time and still falling short. Now let's step up to $60,000 a year. This is close to the median individual income in America, and it's the number a huge share of working adults actually land on. After federal tax, payroll tax, and typical state tax, $60,000 leaves you with roughly $48,000 a year, about $1,846 every 2 weeks. Life here still involves a grind, but you've got breathing room, maybe an extra $100 or $150 a week for savings or paying down debt. You're probably renting with a roommate or in a smaller apartment, driving a car that's a few years old, and cooking most nights instead of eating out. And here's the thing: if you're intentional with your money at this level, you can start building real momentum. Even $100 a week into an index fund compounds into serious money over 15 or 20 years. The people who break out of this bracket aren't always the ones who land a huge raise. They're the ones who make their money work as hard as they do. Jump to $80,000 and something shifts. After tax, you're taking home around $61,500, about $2,365 every 2 weeks. You can now afford to rent a decent one-bedroom on your own in most cities outside the coasts. You can start contributing more to a 401k beyond the employer match. You can build a real emergency fund without feeling like you're starving to do it. At $80,000, you're earning more than roughly 65% of American workers. The danger here is lifestyle creep. This is the bracket where people start financing new cars, upgrading apartments, and eating out 4 nights a week, then wonder why they still feel broke. The people who get ahead at $80,000 keep their spending at the $60,000 level and invest the gap. That difference, roughly $18,000 a year invested consistently, could grow to well over $450,000 in 15 years with compound returns. That's the price of discipline, and that's the cost of ignoring it. Now, $100,000, the magic 6-figure number. For decades this was the mark that meant you'd made it in America. But here's the truth: in 2026, $100,000 puts you in roughly the top 25% of individual earners nationally, which sounds impressive on paper. After federal and state tax, you're looking at about $74,000 take home, around $2,846 every 2 weeks. That's solid money. But in cities like San Francisco, New York, or Los Angeles, where a one-bedroom can easily run $2,500 to $3,500 a month, you're still handing over a massive chunk of your income just for housing. A 6-figure salary used to mean a home deposit within a few years. Today, the median home price nationally is pushing $420,000, and in major coastal cities it's well over $1 million. The cost of living has outpaced this salary in a lot of the country. The $100,000 dream isn't dead, but it doesn't buy what it used to, and that shift happened faster than most people realize. Step up to $150,000, and you've entered roughly the top 10% of individual earners. After tax, you take home around $107,000, about $4,115 every 2 weeks. Life becomes genuinely comfortable here. You can rent well, save consistently, invest meaningfully, and still enjoy your weekends. This is the range where wealth building becomes truly accessible, but only if you don't upgrade your entire lifestyle every time your income ticks up. The biggest trap at this level is comparison. You start socializing with people earning $300,000 or $400,000, and suddenly your $150,000 feels small. It's not. You're out earning 90% of the country. Stay disciplined, and this income can change your entire financial trajectory. At $200,000, you're in roughly the top 5%. After tax, you're taking home about $141,000, which is $5,423 every 2 weeks. Your effective tax rate has climbed to somewhere around 28 to 29% once you stack federal, payroll, and state tax together. You feel it, but your disposable income is strong. You can max out your 401k and IRA contributions, invest in a taxable brokerage account, and build real passive income streams on the side. Life at $200,000 is about options. You can choose where to live, when to work, and how aggressively to build wealth. But you'd be shocked how many people at this income still live paycheck to paycheck. A big mortgage, 2 car payments, private school tuition, and suddenly $200,000 feels tight. The income isn't the problem. The commitments are. That's a lesson most people learn too late. Now let's talk about $400,000 and above. At $400,000, your take-home after federal tax alone drops to roughly $270,000 once you factor in the 35% bracket, payroll tax, and typical state tax. You're paying well over $100,000 a year to the government. At this income, every extra dollar you earn, nearly 40 to 45% goes straight to tax depending on your state. This is where real tax strategy becomes essential. Maxing out retirement accounts, using a backdoor Roth, tax loss harvesting, and structuring investments properly all make a serious difference. Lifestyle-wise, $400,000 is upper-class income. You can live in a great neighborhood, drive a good car, take international vacations, and save aggressively. If you're disciplined, financial independence within 10 to 15 years is genuinely realistic at this level. And then there's the top 1%. Roughly $650,000 and above in individual earnings. That's a little over 1 million Americans out of more than 160 million taxpayers. After tax, $650,000 leaves you with somewhere around $410,000 depending on your state, and you're paying close to $240,000 in tax alone. At this level, time becomes the real currency. The question isn't whether you can afford something, it's whether it's worth your attention. The risk here is complacency. High earners often assume the income lasts forever, so they spend accordingly. But careers change, industries shift, and health can fail. The smartest people at this level convert active income into assets that generate passive income, building something that outlasts their working years. So here's the real takeaway from all of this. Your pay level matters, but it's not the whole story. Someone earning $80,000 with a 40% savings rate will build more wealth than someone earning $250,000 who spends every dollar. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't just about earning more. It's about keeping more of what you earn, investing it wisely, and giving it time to compound. Wherever you sit on this scale right now, the single most powerful thing you can do is close the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is where financial freedom lives. If this shifted how you see your income, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.